The starship Aurora Dawn glided through the silent darkness of space, its polished silver hull reflecting the cold glow of 1,000 scattered stars. Inside the ship, representatives of Earth stood tall and calm. They were on their way to the Grand Assembly of the Galactic Council, a place where the most advanced species of the galaxy met to decide the fate of entire worlds. For centuries, the Galactic Council had been a distant legend to the people of Earth. Stories of alien empires, ancient races, and unimaginable technology had only been whispers hidden in deep space signals. But now Earth was no longer a curious outsider. The humans had traveled faster than light, crossed the dangerous void between stars, and proven that they were ready to sit among the great powers. Ambassador Elena Marquez stood near the main viewing window of the Aurora Dawn. Her eyes reflected the blue-white nebula that swirled beyond the glass. She carried herself with quiet confidence. At her side was General David Chen of the Terran Defense Fleet, a man whose calm presence hid decades of strategic brilliance. Behind them, a team of scientists, diplomats, and cultural experts worked in silence, reviewing the protocols for their historic arrival. Final approach to Verthion Prime, the pilot announced. His voice was steady, but there was a hint of awe. Verthion Prime, the heart of the Galactic Council, appeared in the distance like a living jewel. Its surface shimmered with massive crystalline cities that caught the light of its twin suns. Space stations floated around it in perfect formation, each one a masterpiece of alien engineering. Ships of every shape and color moved along precise lanes, glowing with energy fields and quantum drives far beyond anything Earth had revealed. "Magnificent," General Chen said softly, "and all of them will be watching us." Ambassador Marquez nodded. "Let them watch. We came here as equals." The Aurora Dawn descended through a corridor of blinking beacons escorted by elegant Council patrol ships. The landing platform awaited, a grand circle of silver and blue metals wide enough to hold several human cities. As the ship touched down, a low hum of energy filled the air. Outside, thousands of beings gathered. Some floated above the ground, wrapped in shimmering light. Others stood tall on long, graceful limbs or moved on clusters of tiny mechanical drones. Every species present had achieved greatness in its own way. They had crossed the stars long before Earth even learned to sail across oceans. A deep voice echoed across the platform as the Council's welcoming envoy stepped forward. The envoy was a towering figure of translucent crystal, glowing softly from within. Its form shifted like liquid glass as it spoke. "People of Earth," it said, each word perfectly translated by hidden technology. "You have crossed the threshold of the void and seek a seat among the Council of the Wise. Today the eyes of the galaxy rest upon you." Ambassador Marquez bowed slightly, her movements precise. "On behalf of the United Earth Alliance, we thank you for this honor. Humanity comes in peace and friendship, ready to share knowledge and work for the safety of all." The crystal envoy tilted its head, the light within it pulsing like a heartbeat. "We welcome your words, but peace must be proven by action, and friendship must endure the trials of time. The Council will watch closely." Inside the great chamber of the Council, the delegation of Earth took their first steps onto the polished floor. The chamber was a vast sphere of glowing panels and floating platforms, where each member species had its own section. The air hummed with soft energy, carrying the distant voices of 100 languages. As the humans moved to their assigned place, they felt countless eyes upon them. Some were curious, others were cautious. A few carried a quiet challenge. Among the oldest races, whispers traveled fast. Many believed humans were too young, too reckless to hold power among the stars, yet the humans walked with steady grace. They wore tailored suits of dark fabric with silver insignias, symbols of a united planet that had left behind centuries of internal conflict. Their posture spoke of determination. Their silence carried an unspoken message. Earth might be new to the Council, but it was not weak. When the opening session began, representatives from different worlds rose to speak. The Erythians, a species of winged beings with feathers that shimmered like liquid metal, questioned Earth's sudden appearance. "Only a century ago your kind barely touched your own moon," their speaker said in a gentle but sharp tone. "Now you arrive with faster-than-light drives and request a seat among ancient powers. How did you rise so quickly?" Ambassador Marquez responded with a calm smile. "Humanity learns fast. We faced many challenges on our own world: climate change, conflict, scarcity. We survived by adapting. When we discovered the science behind quantum drives, we worked together to master it. We believe cooperation is the key to progress. A low murmur ran through the chamber. Some delegates nodded with approval. Others exchanged wary glances. The humans were polite, but their words carried a quiet pride. The next speaker, a tall and silver-skinned member of the Oralis, leaned forward. Your speed is unusual. Advancement often takes thousands of years. Yet you claim it happened in mere decades. Some fear that such rapid growth hides something. Are you prepared to share the full extent of your technology? General Chen stepped forward, his voice even and measured. Earth will share what is safe for the stability of the galaxy. We believe in mutual trust, but we also believe every world has the right to protect its people. The chamber grew silent. The statement was careful, but it also carried a clear boundary. Humanity would not reveal everything. Behind the respectful words and steady faces, the humans carried a deeper truth known only to a few. Earth's rise had not been an accident. Decades earlier, secret alliances of scientists and strategists had worked in hidden stations across the solar system. They had prepared for the day when humanity would meet the stars, not as servants, but as equals. Far above the chamber, in a quiet observation deck, an elder member of the council watched the humans with eyes like molten gold. His thoughts were unreadable, but his voice whispered to an aide beside him. They are not what they appear. I sense a storm behind their calm. Below, Ambassador Marquez concluded her speech with a simple promise. Earth seeks peace, but we will always defend the right of every world to live free. We ask for friendship, not control. Let our actions prove our worth. The council's leader, a being older than most stars, raised a long crystal arm and struck the floor with a deep, resonant tone. So be it. Earth is granted a trial seat in the Galactic Council. Your words will be tested by time and action. May your presence bring harmony, not conflict. Applause, some warm, some cautious, filled the chamber. Lights from distant suns reflected off the polished walls, casting soft rainbows across the human delegation. As the session ended, General Chen leaned close to Ambassador Marquez and spoke in a low voice. They are curious, but they are afraid too. Marquez nodded, her eyes never leaving the sea of alien faces. Good. Curiosity opens doors. Fear keeps them guessing. Let them wonder. The less they know about what waits in the Sol system, the better. Outside, the twin suns of GalacticPrime bathed the crystal towers in a warm golden glow. The humans stepped back aboard the Aurora Dawn. Their mission far from over. They had been offered a seat at the table, but they knew the real test was yet to come. Far across the galaxy, hidden fleets waited in silent readiness. Earth had entered the council as a humble newcomer, but every member of the Terran delegation carried the same quiet thought. Humanity would never again kneel to any power. The stars were watching, and so was Earth. The Aurora Dawn returned to the Sol system with a slow, silent glide. Earth's blue oceans and white clouds shone beneath the ship like a living jewel. Ambassador Elena Marquez stood by the window of the command deck, but her mind was still on GalacticPrime. The first session of the Galactic Council had ended, yet the echoes of alien voices still filled her thoughts. Questions about Earth's sudden rise had spread through the chamber like ripples in water. General David Chen joined her at the viewing port, hands clasped behind his back. The council is restless, he said quietly. They wonder how a young world could reach the stars so quickly. Some are curious. Some are frightened. Marquez nodded. Curiosity is acceptable. Fear can turn dangerous. The general's sharp eyes narrowed. Danger has already begun to move. Only hours earlier, Terran intelligence had intercepted a coded message from the outer sectors. The Zyre Dominion, one of the oldest and most aggressive members of the Council, was gathering warships near the Perseus Rift. Officially, the Zyre claimed it was a training exercise. Unofficially, scouts reported the presence of heavy cruisers armed for battle. The Zyre were known across the galaxy for their pride and hunger for expansion. They had once ruled dozens of systems before the Council limited their reach. Their tall, armored forms and deep violet skin marked them as warriors of an older age. To them, humanity was an unpredictable rival, a species that rose too fast and might threaten their fading power. General Chen studied the latest reports. They will test us. Perhaps not with open war, but with a provocation strong enough to measure our strength. Marquez exhaled slowly. Then we must be ready to answer, but not to start a conflict. Earth will not fire the first shot. 2 weeks later, a Terran convoy departed from the Luna Gate, carrying medical supplies and rare minerals to the neutral colony of Garel 4. The convoy moved with steady caution through the dark bands of the Perseus Rift, escorted by 3 small frigates of the Terran Defense Fleet. Captain Riley Vargas commanded the lead frigate TDS Sentinel. She was a veteran of deep space patrols, a pilot who had faced the dangers of rogue asteroids and silent pirate ships. But as the convoy entered the rift, a cold warning pulsed through the ship's sensors. Multiple energy signatures detected, her tactical officer reported. Approaching fast, Vector 095. Configuration matches Zir Dominion warships. Captain Vargas ordered the fleet into a defensive formation. Transmit standard greeting. Inform them this is a humanitarian mission. The answer came as a sharp burst of static, followed by a deep metallic voice. Human vessels, you are trespassing in a restricted zone. Surrender your cargo for inspection or face immediate action. This zone is neutral space, Captain Vargas replied calmly. Our mission is peaceful. We will not submit to unauthorized boarding. The reply was a flash of light. A Zir destroyer fired a warning shot across the convoy's path, a streak of plasma that burned blue against the blackness. Inside the Sentinel, alarms wailed. Vargas clenched her jaw. Shields up. Prepare countermeasures. Do not fire unless fired upon. The Zir destroyer advanced, flanked by 2 cruisers. Their hulls glowed with the purple sheen of charged plasma, each weapon array capable of tearing through a standard escort in seconds. Captain, the tactical officer said, voice tight. If they lock weapons, our shields will not hold long. We hold position, Vargas said firmly. Transmit again. This is a neutral mission. Any attack will be recorded and reported to the Galactic Council. For a tense minute, the stars stood silent. Then the destroyer opened fire. The first volley struck the Sentinel's shields with a burst of blinding light. The frigate rocked violently, but the defensive grid held. Vargas gave a single order. Return fire. Target weapons only. Minimal force. The Terran frigates moved as one, launching a wave of concentrated pulses. Human engineers had designed these weapons with precision, focusing energy on critical systems rather than brute destruction. The Zir cruisers reeled as their targeting arrays flickered and died. On the bridge of the Zir flagship, Commander Thrax watched his screens in disbelief. These human escorts were smaller and fewer, yet their shots cut through shield harmonics with perfect accuracy. He ordered another volley, only to see his secondary cannons disabled by a single strike. Within minutes, one Zir cruiser drifted helpless, engines offline. The other pulled back to regroup, but the humans pressed no advantage. Instead, the convoy maintained formation, shields bright but weapons cooling. Captain Vargas opened a final channel. This convoy will continue its mission. Any further attack will be documented and presented to the Council. Cease hostilities or retreat, there was no answer. Slowly, the Zir ships withdrew into the rift, their hulls scarred and sensors scrambled. The human convoy resumed its course, shaken but unharmed. News of the encounter spread through the galaxy before the convoy even reached its destination. In the great halls of the Galactic Council, the story sparked debate and unease. Delegates replayed the sensor footage again and again, analyzing every pulse of Terran energy. How did their small escorts disable a Dominion cruiser without a single fatal blast? Asked an Oralis observer, wings folding in thought. Their weapons were precise, a crystal envoy replied. Too precise for a species so young. Either they have technology beyond their years, or they have trained with unmatched discipline. The Zir delegation entered the chamber days later, their armored forms radiating controlled anger. Commander Thrax himself addressed the council. The humans provoked our patrol and fired without cause. This is proof that Earth is a danger to the balance of the galaxy. Ambassador Marquez rose from the human platform, her voice steady and clear. The sensor logs are open for all to see. The Zir fired first. Our convoy was on a mission of aid. We defended ourselves and nothing more. A ripple of agreement moved through the chamber. The logs indeed showed the first plasma shot coming from the Zir destroyer. Still, some delegates whispered their doubts. How could humanity repel a Dominion attack so easily? General Chen remained silent during the session, but inside he studied every reaction. He saw fear in the eyes of the Council's oldest members, the slow realization that Earth's power was not an accident. Far from the Council chamber, deep within secure Terran command bunkers on Luna, a quiet meeting took place. Admiral Catherine Royce, head of the Terran Defense Fleet, studied the after-action reports. "The Zir underestimated us," she said, her voice a low rumble. "They thought a convoy escort would be weak. Instead, we showed them the edge of our blade without revealing the sword." Her advisors nodded. Earth's rapid development of graviton-based targeting systems remained a closely guarded secret. The technology allowed Terran ships to bend microfields of gravity around enemy shields, striking with impossible accuracy. To the Council, it appeared as a simple energy weapon. To Earth, it was a sign of how far human science had quietly advanced. Ambassador Marquez joined the meeting through a secure channel. "The Council will investigate," she said. "They will ask for demonstrations for access to our research. We will share what is safe. Nothing more." "Agreed," Admiral Royce replied. "Let them wonder. Curiosity buys us time. Time builds strength," General Chen added. "The Zir will not stop here. They have tested our defenses. Next, they will test our patience. We must prepare for a larger strike or political pressure." Across the stars, messages traveled faster than light, carrying both warning and fascination. On distant worlds, young species whispered the name of Earth with new respect. Traders repeated the story of 3 small Terran frigates forcing a Dominion warfleet to retreat. On Verthion Prime, Elder Council members met in private chambers lit by soft crystal light. "The humans are not to be underestimated," one said. "If 3 escorts can defeat a Dominion strike, what strength do they still hide?" Another elder leaned forward, eyes glowing faintly. "Strength alone does not frighten me. It is their restraint. They could have destroyed those ships. Instead, they chose control. That is the mark of a power that plans for the long game." The galaxy began to whisper a new truth. Earth was not a simple newcomer. Humanity was a force rising with purpose, guided by minds willing to wait and strike only when necessary. Back on Earth, as twilight fell over the shining towers of the United Earth Alliance headquarters, Ambassador Marquez looked up at the night sky. Stars glittered like tiny fires against the darkness. Somewhere among them, the Zir Dominion nursed its pride and planned its next move. She turned to General Chen, who stood beside her on the balcony. "The Council has seen our strength," she said, "but they have not seen our limits." Chen's expression was calm, but his words carried a quiet warning. "And we must make sure they never do." Above them, the stars seemed to burn a little brighter, as if the galaxy itself sensed that a new player had entered the game and that the next move would shake the heavens. The council chamber on Verthion Prime shimmered with soft light as the great sphere of alien delegates gathered for an emergency session. The Zir Dominion had lodged a formal protest, accusing Earth of aggressive tactics in the Perseus Rift. Outside the chamber, news screens replayed the encounter again and again. 3 Terran frigates holding a Dominion strike force at bay and forcing it to retreat without a single fatal blast. Ambassador Elena Marquez sat calmly in the human section, hands folded on the polished table before her. Around her, representatives of older species whispered in their own languages, their glowing eyes or shifting bodies betraying unease. The footage of the battle had spread across 1,000 worlds, and with it came a single question. How did the humans do it? General David Chen stood behind Marquez, silent and watchful. His dark uniform bore no medals, but his very presence felt like a shield. He listened to the quiet exchanges around the chamber, noting every pause and every nervous glance. The council speaker, a tall being of translucent crystal, struck the central dais with a resonant tone. "We gather to discuss the actions of the United Earth Alliance and the Zir Dominion. Evidence shows that the humans acted in defense, yet their ability to disable advanced warships demands explanation." The Oralis envoy, feathers shimmering with silver light, tilted her graceful head. "Ambassador Marquez, the precision of your fleet is far beyond what we expected from a young species. Would you care to explain the source of this ability?" Marquez met the envoy's gaze without blinking. "Humanity has always been forced to adapt quickly. Our history is full of challenges, disasters, conflicts, shortages of resources. We learn to innovate or perish. The technologies used by our escorts are the result of decades of careful research and cooperation across our world. Nothing more." The envoy's wings folded slowly, signaling polite skepticism. Around the chamber, more questions rose. How could a species that had barely reached the stars within a single century outmaneuver a Dominion fleet that had ruled space for thousands of years? How could their weapons strike with such accuracy yet cause so little collateral damage? General Chen remained silent, but inside his mind a quiet calculation unfolded. The Council was not only curious. It was searching for weaknesses. Far away in the cold void of the Sol system, hidden fleets waited in silence. On the dark side of Neptune's largest moon, vast shipyards stretched like shining webs across the blackness. Here, Earth's true strength remained concealed behind layers of gravitational shields and sensor-jamming fields. Massive carriers floated in quiet construction bays, their hulls coated with adaptive alloys that could bend light. Engineers worked around the clock, guided by advanced AIs that monitored every quantum circuit. These were not simple warships. They were the result of secret programs that had begun decades earlier, when Earth first received the faint signals of alien civilizations. In a secure command center beneath the icy crust of Triton, Admiral Catherine Royce reviewed the latest status reports. Her eyes moved across holographic displays showing production schedules, weapon calibrations, and fleet readiness. "The Council is pressing for details," she said to her gathered officers. "We will give them only what we choose. Our technology remains classified at level prime." A young strategist asked cautiously, "If the Council demands inspections, how long can we refuse?" "As long as it takes," Royce replied. "Earth does not reveal its shield to those who might one day test its strength." Meanwhile, the Zir Dominion seethed. In the command citadel of their capital world, Commander Thrax stood before a council of his own. Holographic projections of Terran frigates spun above the table, highlighting every strike pattern from the Rift encounter. "These humans humiliated our fleet," Thrax growled. His deep violet skin shimmered under the chamber lights. "Their ships are smaller, their weapons unregistered, yet they pierced our shields with impossible precision. This cannot stand," an elder Zir strategist hissed in response. "Direct war will bring the wrath of the Galactic Council. We must use other means. Spies, sabotage, find the source of their power before they become unstoppable." Thrax's eyes narrowed. "Then we will send shadows to their world. Let them believe they are safe while we learn their secrets." Spies began to move through the galaxy like silent currents. Zir agents disguised as traders slipped into neutral zones near Terran space. Data thieves hacked into public transmissions searching for hidden patterns. Even the Council's own intelligence network sought answers, driven not by malice but by fear of imbalance. On Mars, Terran security forces intercepted an unusual transmission from a seemingly harmless cargo vessel. The signal carried encrypted layers far beyond civilian use. Within hours, cyber defense teams traced the source to a Zir encryption pattern. In the underground command hub of the Terran Security Directorate, Director Amara Lee studied the decrypted fragments. Schematics of Terran shipyards, partial blueprints of graviton weapons, and secret flight routes appeared on her screen. "They are probing deeper than ever," she said to her staff, "but they will find only shadows. Feed them false trails. Let them chase ghosts across the stars." Back on Verthion Prime, Ambassador Marquez met privately with General Chen in a quiet garden of floating crystals. The garden was a place where sound softened and colors shimmered like liquid rainbows. Here conversations remained hidden from electronic ears. "They will not stop," Marquez said softly. "Every race in that chamber wants to know how far our strength reaches. Even our allies are uneasy," Chen nodded. "Fear drives them. The Zir seek our weakness. The Council seeks our limits. Both must remain blind." "Blindness invites war," Marquez replied. "They will keep pushing until they think they understand us. Then we give them something to study," Chen said. "A calculated reveal. Enough to satisfy curiosity, not enough to expose our core." Marquez considered this carefully. "A controlled demonstration?" "Yes," Chen said. "Show them a spark, not the fire." The opportunity arrived sooner than expected. A month after the Perseus Rift encounter, a council delegation requested a formal inspection of Earth's outer colonies. Officially, the purpose was to ensure that Terran technologies did not violate council treaties. Unofficially, it was a mission to measure Earth's hidden capabilities. The Terran High Command agreed on strict terms. The delegation would be allowed to visit the Europa Research Station, a facility advanced enough to impress but harmless enough to reveal. Behind closed doors, General Chen outlined the plan. "We will show them advanced energy shielding and controlled quantum drives," he said to his staff. "Nothing more. Keep all graviton research off the schedule. All critical projects remain hidden in the Triton facilities. When the Council delegation arrived, they were greeted with warmth and carefully chosen displays. Engineers demonstrated elegant new energy shields that absorbed plasma fire without heat. Scientists explained breakthroughs in quantum navigation that allowed safer jumps between stars. The visitors were impressed, but they left with more questions than answers. One delegate, a silver-skinned elder of the Oralis, whispered to her aide as they boarded their shuttle. "They reveal marvels and hide miracles. I fear what sleeps beneath their oceans of silence." Far across the Sol system, in the dark command center on Triton, Admiral Royce watched the departing Council ships on a hidden monitor. "They are satisfied for now," she said quietly. "But the Zir will not rest. Their pride will not allow it." General Chen's voice came through the secure channel. "Let them come. Every question they ask gives us more time to prepare. Every shadow they send teaches us how to counter them." Ambassador Marquez added, "But we must be careful. Power invites fear. Fear invites conflict. If we push too hard, we risk uniting the Council against us." Royce nodded slowly. "Then we walk the line. Strong enough to defend, calm enough to reassure, hidden enough to survive." Beyond the human sphere, the galaxy buzzed with quiet speculation. Traders spoke of secret Terran shipyards hidden behind clouds of artificial gravity. Smugglers claimed to have seen human dreadnoughts larger than any Council carrier, their hulls wrapped in fields of shifting light. Some called the stories exaggerations. Others believed every word. On Verthion Prime, the Council elders gathered in a private conclave. "The humans reveal what they wish," said one with eyes of molten gold. "We sense a storm behind their calm. If their strength is as great as whispers claim, the balance of the galaxy will change." Another elder replied, "Then perhaps the balance must change. For the first time in an age, a young race rises without fear. Perhaps they are the catalyst the stars have awaited." The Council chamber fell silent as the elders considered the weight of those words. Across the void, Earth continued to build, to learn, and to plan. On Earth, night fell across the shining towers of the United Earth Alliance headquarters. Ambassador Marquez stood on the balcony gazing at the endless stars. She felt the pull of destiny in the quiet sky. Somewhere out there, spies moved, rumors spread, and enemies plotted. Yet the people of Earth worked together with steady purpose. General Chen joined her, his footsteps silent. "The shadows grow longer," he said softly. He would not only... The quiet hum of the Sol system was shattered one morning when the first warning signals arrived from the Gurel 4 sector. A fleet of Zir Dominion warships had appeared out of nowhere, launching a sudden assault on a neutral colony. The colony was unprepared for the speed and violence of the attack. Its defensive stations fired blindly at the incoming cruisers, only to be disabled within minutes. Panic spread among the colonists as energy beams cut across the sky, and ships scrambled to escape the orbiting rings. On Earth, Ambassador Elena, Marquez watched the live feed with a calm, measured expression. General David Chen stood beside her, analyzing the incoming data with cold efficiency. "They are testing us," Chen said. "They want to see if our restraint is weakness." Marquez nodded. "Then it is time we show them what humans can truly do, but we do it with precision, not recklessness." Far beneath the icy crust of Triton, the Terran High Command assembled in the main operations chamber. Large holographic displays showed every angle of the colony under siege. Ships that had been hidden in secret jump gates around the outer system began to activate, emerging silently from folds in space to assemble into a defensive formation. Admiral Catherine Royce spoke, her voice calm but firm. "Deploy the carriers, protect the colony. Disable the Zir fleet without unnecessary destruction. We are showing the galaxy that Earth defends not with rage but with skill." Within hours, the first wave of human ships arrived in the Gurel 4 system. Hundreds of sleek battle carriers, frigates, and patrol vessels formed a protective ring around the colony. Their arrival was sudden, almost magical. The ships seemed to appear from thin space, a demonstration of Earth's hidden reach. The Zir cruisers paused, scanning the incoming vessels in surprise. They had expected resistance from a single sector, not a full fleet of disciplined modern warships. Captain Riley Vargas, now commanding a Terran battle carrier, gave the order. "Form defensive perimeter, shields to maximum, target priority, weapon systems only." We disable, we do not destroy. The human fleet moved with perfect coordination. Laser batteries and graviton lances struck the Zir weapons arrays, disabling firing systems almost instantly. The cruisers rocked as shields flared and died, yet no hulls were breached. The precision of each strike amazed even the neutral colony's observers, who had expected total devastation. From the bridge of the Zir flagship, Commander Thrax stared at the holographic displays. "Impossible," he growled. "These humans move like one mind. Their weapons strike before our systems can react. How can they be so prepared?" One of his lieutenants hissed. "They are hiding more than they reveal, my lord. There are more ships than the scanners detect. We cannot compete with numbers we cannot see." The Terran High Command had planned for this. Hidden jump gates allowed additional fleets to appear at precise coordinates, creating overlapping fields of attack and defense. Drones guided by advanced AI swarmed the enemy ships, interfering with sensors and disabling engines. Gravity-lensed torpedoes tore through plasma shields, striking with pinpoint accuracy without harming civilian structures below. In the colony control room, administrators and civilians watched in stunned silence. One engineer whispered, "It's like they're not just defending, they're orchestrating a symphony of power." Ambassador Marquez observed quietly from the command deck of the Aurora Dawn. The humans had restrained themselves carefully, disabling weapons and systems rather than committing total destruction. Every strike was a message. Earth would defend life, but it could also annihilate threats if forced. "The Council is watching," General Chen said softly. "Every action is a statement. Remember, restraint now builds respect later." Despite the overwhelming human coordination, Commander Thrax was determined to push the Zir fleet forward. The Dominion launched wave after wave of attack drones and assault frigates, hoping to overwhelm the humans with sheer numbers. But every wave was intercepted. Adaptive shields bent around plasma beams, AI-guided drones cut off advanced ships, and graviton lances disrupted navigation arrays. Captain Vargas's voice echoed across the fleet. "Keep formation, protect civilians, target weapon systems, no more than necessary." The Zir ships could not understand the restraint. They had expected fury and destruction, but the humans fought like engineers of war rather than its slaves. Every strike was calculated. Every maneuver was precise. Slowly, the Dominion fleet began to falter, forced to retreat in confusion and frustration. In the middle of the battle, a Council observation vessel floated silently, recording every moment. Elder representatives of the Galactic Council leaned close to their screens, their expressions shifting from skepticism to awe. "The humans are not just defenders," one whispered. "They are a species that has mastered strategy, technology, and restraint all at once." After hours of engagement, the Zir fleet withdrew entirely. The human ships had left the colony unharmed except for minor infrastructure damage caused by the initial attack. Civilians cheered as the Terran fleet slowly dispersed, each ship returning to hidden positions throughout the system. Ambassador Marquez finally spoke, addressing the fleet through secure channels. "Well done. Precision, not rage, is the mark of strength. The galaxy has now seen the truth. Earth does not fight for conquest, but it cannot be underestimated." General Chen nodded. "And they will remember this. The Zir will spread tales of today for decades. Other species will watch and wonder. This is the unveiling." Back at Verthion Prime, the Council convened an emergency session. Footage from the Garel 4 engagement was displayed on massive screens. Voices of awe and disbelief echoed throughout the chamber. The elders could not hide their surprise. "The humans," one elder said, eyes glowing faintly, "did not destroy the fleet. Yet they proved their strength beyond doubt." "They are disciplined," another added. "They fight not with hate but with mastery. This is a power we have not seen in any young species before." Debates erupted. Some delegates feared the humans' growing influence. Others realized that a species capable of such restraint while wielding immense power could stabilize regions previously torn by war. Quietly, some council members began to see a new balance forming, a balance in which humanity could play a pivotal role. Meanwhile, In the hidden Terran command centers, Admiral Royce reviewed every detail of the engagement. "We revealed enough," she said. "The galaxy now understands that Earth defends life with skill unmatched, but the full strength of our forces remains hidden." General Chen added, "They know we can strike, but they do not know the reach of our strike. That is the advantage. Every fleet, every station, every secret project is part of a web they cannot see." Marquez watched the stars through the observation deck window. "And they never will. We will continue to lead with intellect, strategy, and restraint. Power shown at the right moment ensures survival and respect." Far from the council chamber in distant systems, whispers of Earth's victory spread. Traders told tales of human precision and restraint. Scouts reported fleets emerging from nowhere, intercepting Dominion strikes with surgical skill. Even worlds not aligned with the Council watched in quiet fear and admiration. In the Zir Dominion, Commander Thrax was forced to answer uncomfortable questions. "How can a species so young defeat our fleets without full engagement?" he asked his officers. No answer satisfied him. The humans were always one step ahead, always measuring their response, always hiding the full extent of their power. "It is more than technology," a lieutenant finally said. "It is discipline, strategy, patience." Thrax's armor seemed to shimmer darker in the dim light. "Then we must learn their patience or be destroyed before we do." By the end of the engagement, the galaxy had seen the truth. Earth was no longer a quiet newcomer. Humanity's strength was precise, calculated, and unyielding when necessary. The message was clear. The planet would defend life, protect its people, and hold its place among the stars. But it would not be trifled with. Ambassador Marquez returned to Earth, standing once more beneath the blue skies of her home planet. General Chen joined her as she looked up at the night sky, streaked with the trails of satellites and distant starships. "The unveiling is complete," Chen said quietly. "They know who we are now." Marquez nodded. "Yes, and they will respect us not because we seek power, but because we wield it wisely. Let the galaxy tremble, not in fear, but in understanding." Above, the stars burned like distant witnesses. Humanity had revealed only a fraction of its strength, enough to command respect and caution. The next moves in the galaxy were already beginning to take shape, and Earth would be ready. The dawn of a new era was upon the stars, and humanity had taken its first true step into a role that no one could ignore. The Galactic Council convened on Verthion Prime once more, but this session was unlike any other. The chamber, a vast sphere of light and crystal, was filled with delegates from hundreds of species, each one curious, cautious, or outright fearful of Earth's growing presence. Whispered rumors of the Geril 4 defense had already reached every corner of the galaxy. Humanity had proven that it could protect itself and others with precision and skill. Yet the full extent of its power remained unknown. Ambassador Elena Marquez entered the chamber, her steps steady and dignified. General David Chen followed quietly, surveying the room with sharp, measured eyes. Delegates shifted as the humans took their assigned seats. Some leaned forward in interest. Others tried to mask unease behind polite gestures. The council speaker, a translucent crystal entity that radiated soft light, struck the dais and addressed the assembly. "We gather to consider the actions of Earth and the implications for the balance of the galaxy. The events at Geril 4 have been observed, recorded, and verified. Humanity has acted in defense, yet with power unmatched in a newcomer species." A murmur ran through the chamber. The Zir delegation glared, their violet armor gleaming, yet they could not deny the precision and discipline displayed by the humans. The council elders, older than most stars, studied the humans carefully, their golden eyes reflecting both concern and awe. Ambassador Marquez stood to speak. Her voice was calm, measured, and confident. "The United Earth Alliance comes before the Council not seeking conquest, but seeking peace, respect, and cooperation. Our people have learned to survive, to adapt, and to build a civilization that values life above destruction. We defend ourselves, and we defend those who cannot defend themselves. That is the measure of our strength." Some delegates nodded, impressed by her words. Others frowned, cautious of the rising power of a species that had advanced so quickly. But even the skeptical could not ignore the evidence. Human fleets, strategic planning, and restraint in the heat of battle. The Zir commander Thrax rose, his voice deep and commanding. While we acknowledge Earth's tactical skill, we warn the Council, such power cannot be underestimated. The humans' fleets strike with precision. Their technology is hidden and their discipline is unmatched. We must prepare for what may come. Marquez replied without hesitation. We do not seek to threaten any world, but we will protect ourselves and the innocent. If respect is what the galaxy seeks, we offer it freely. If fear is what is chosen, we will endure it with patience. In the back of the chamber, whispers circulated. The Auralis envoy, silver wings folded gracefully, turned to a nearby elder. They fight with control and intelligence, not with anger. That is rare in any species, let alone one so young. A crystal elder replied, its form shifting slowly. True. They are unlike any we have encountered. If we misjudge them, the balance of power could change more than any of us are prepared for. Other delegates began to ask for treaties, alliances, and cooperation agreements. Worlds that had once doubted humanity now sought to understand it. Observers requested joint defense pacts, resource-sharing programs, and even training exchanges. The humans' reputation for intelligence, strategy, and restraint had spread faster than any military action could have achieved. Back in the Sol system, the Terran High Command monitored the Council's deliberations in real time. Admiral Catherine Royce stood before a holographic map of human fleets positioned across key sectors. The Council trembles not from fear alone, she said. They are realizing what we have long known. Humanity's rise was deliberate, disciplined, and unstoppable if guided wisely. General Chen nodded. And we must guide it wisely. Strength without control invites conflict. Power without restraint invites destruction. The galaxy must see us as protectors, not conquerors. Marquez joined them, looking at the holographic displays of human fleets. Every action we take shapes the galaxy's perception of our people. We wield strength not to dominate, but to uphold peace. That is why we remain hidden in some areas and open in others. Balance must be maintained. The Zir Dominion, still smarting from Geralt 4, convened its own secret council. Commander Thrax paced before the holographic map of the Sol system. They are not reckless, he admitted reluctantly. They show discipline and control beyond our predictions. We cannot match them openly without risking total defeat, but we will study, wait, and learn. The next engagement will test their patience. Yet even as the Zir plotted, other species reached out to Earth. Traders, explorers, and diplomats from dozens of worlds offered cooperation. Technology exchanges, cultural dialogues, and mutual protection agreements were proposed. Humanity was no longer seen as a fragile newcomer. It was emerging as a central pillar in the galactic order. Ambassador Marquez addressed her people during a rare broadcast to all Terran colonies. We have entered the galaxy not as conquerors, but as caretakers, allies, and defenders. Our strength is measured not by how much we can destroy, but by how much we can protect. Every fleet, every station, and every project you see, and those you do not, are dedicated to the survival and prosperity of our species, and those we choose to defend. Her words were received with pride and renewed purpose. Citizens across Earth and its colonies felt a renewed sense of identity. Humanity was no longer a planet of isolated nations. It was a united species, a rising power guided by intelligence, courage, and discipline. On Verthion Prime, the Council reconvened to finalize new treaties. Earth was granted a permanent seat, a status once reserved for the most ancient species. Former skeptics now petitioned for joint defense initiatives, while younger species asked for mentorship in technology and strategic planning. The balance of power had shifted. Humanity's presence had not only been accepted, it had become essential to the stability of the galaxy. The Zir delegates, though still proud and cautious, acknowledged the change. Commander Thrax spoke quietly to his aides. We must learn from them, not fight them. They are the future we cannot ignore. In private chambers, Ambassador Marquez received messages from worlds that had once doubted humanity, gifts of rare materials, offers of cultural exchange, and requests for scientific collaboration poured in. The galaxy was testing its boundaries, and humanity was answering with wisdom and restraint. Back on Earth, night fell across the cities. Ambassador Marquez stood on the balcony of the United Earth Alliance headquarters, looking up at the stars. General Chen joined her, his expression calm yet thoughtful. The council has changed, he said softly. Humanity is no longer a newcomer. We are a force they respect even if they do not fully understand us. Marquez nodded. Respect earned through restraint and skill is stronger than fear earned through force. We have shown the galaxy who we are. Not just fighters, but guardians. The balance is delicate, but we are ready to maintain it. Chen looked up at the stars, twinkling like countless eyes watching over them. And if anyone tests that balance? Marquez's voice was steady, confident, and filled with quiet strength. Then they will see that humanity protects its own. Not with anger, but with precision. Not with recklessness, but with intelligence. Not with fear, but with resolve. In the months that followed, the galaxy settled into a new pattern. Council deliberations became more open to Terran insight, and new alliances formed based on Earth's demonstrated capability. Worlds once on the edge of conflict now looked to Earth as a stabilizing force. The Zir Dominion, while still proud and defiant, learned caution in their dealings. The galaxy had witnessed the full measure of human ingenuity and restraint, and it had been impressed. Human fleets continued their silent patrols, guarding borders and monitoring distant sectors. New colonies received support, emergency response teams were deployed faster than ever, and scientific discoveries advanced at unprecedented speed. Humanity had not revealed everything, but enough had been seen to inspire confidence and caution in equal measure. At the Galactic Council, elder delegates whispered that Earth was more than a member. It was a symbol. The unity, discipline, and courage of humanity represented the hope of a young, rising species that could change the course of the stars. On the final day of the council session, Ambassador Marquez stood before the assembly one last time. "We accept the responsibilities of our position," she said. "We will guide with wisdom, defend with skill, and act with restraint. Let the galaxy know that humanity is here, not to dominate, but to ensure that the stars remain a place of life, learning, and cooperation. This is the path we choose, and we will uphold it with every action we take." A quiet awe filled the chamber. Delegates from hundreds of worlds reflected on the words, realizing that Earth had not only survived the trials of the Council, but had reshaped the galaxy's perception of strength. Courage and intelligence back on Earth, the people looked up at the night sky with pride. Humanity had entered the galaxy not as conquerors, but as leaders guided by wisdom. The stories of battles won, of fleets hidden, of precision strikes, and of restraint had spread far and wide. Humanity had proven that it could rise among the stars and maintain its values without surrendering its strength. In the hidden command centers, fleets prepared quietly for any future threats. Science labs,